Gamescom, the biggest gaming event of the year, is back and in full action. As is custom, to kick it all off, Geoff Keighley hosted Opening Night Live, a 2.5-hour show to showcase loads of video game announcements and reveals. Historically, this is probably my least favourite of his 3 main annual events, but maybe this year it was better? Let me break down everything that was shown. What's up? How's it going, people? If you want to support the channel, please consider leaving a like and subscribe, or if you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. With the housekeeping out the way, let's dive into the announcements. The stream was split into a 30-minute pre-show and a 2-hour main event, so I'm going to start with the pre-show content. In all honesty, I thought this pre-show had some of my favourite showings of the night. First up was Bubsy 4D, which, contrary to its name, will be a 3D platformer. This one will take you to the intergalactic space as Bubsy is confronting his enemies across alien planets. This is developed by indie studio Fabraz, who are known for games like Demon Tides and Slime San. Bubsy 4D is coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox and Nintendo sometime soon. Battlestar Galactica Scattered Hopes was revealed, and it's a roguelike strategy game coming to Steam in early 2026. Night Dive Studios are fresh off releasing both the Heretic Hexen remaster and the System Shock 2 remaster this year. Their work doesn't end here though, as they are also remastering the LucasArts classic Outlaws, which is releasing later this year for all systems. Without a doubt, one of my highlights of the show was DenshAttack. This exploded onto the screen with so much energy. It looked like there were high-speed parkour skating tricks with a train carriage grinding about. It also seems to feature fights with big mech transformer bosses. Developers Fireshrine Games provided the following synopsis: flip, trick and grind your train in a fast-paced, off-the-rails ride through a colourful Japanese dystopia. Outmatch rival gangs, wreck a shady megacorp, and take back the tracks with nothing but skill, speed and style. There is no official release date for this one, but I am desperately keeping an eye out for this when it comes to Steam, PlayStation and Xbox. Next, we got another brief showing of Keeper, the new walking lighthouse game from Double Fine. In an interview with art director Lee Petty from the studio, the companionship between the lighthouse and the bird, called Twig, was discussed. Twig and the lighthouse's bond seemed to be a key driving factor of the story. Lee also mentioned his artistic inspiration from media such as The Dark Crystal, which you can definitely see elements of in Keeper's psychedelic visuals. Keeper hits for Xbox and PC on October 17th. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, the Dragon Pearl of Destruction, is an incredibly long name for a game. This side-scrolling beat-em-up from Limited Run is coming to all systems at some point soon. Absolum is a new roguelike beat-em-up from Dotemu and it looks awesome. The developer promises vibes of the fantasy arcade hits of the past. The trailer showed a mix of cutscene and gameplay with a lot of magic-wielding frogs. Or are they toads? I will be checking this out on October 9th when it comes to Steam, PS4 and 5 and Nintendo Switch. Long Gone is a narrative adventure with pixel art graphics. The setting seems to be a zombie wasteland, which I'm sure is going to be very moving when it comes to PC sometime in the future. From the Ghost Runner devs comes Valor Mortis, which looks like a French Revolution inspired setting where human mutation seems to be taking precedent with all its gruesome side effects. There's always a plague, right? This has first-person sword combat with the offhand wielding a gun or powers and was one of the biggest surprises of the show. This game looks rad and it's being described as an action Souls-like but in first person. It's scheduled to release in 2026 for PC, PS5 and Xbox Series. With a slight shift in tone, we saw PVKK, which real name is far longer and not something I'm even going to attempt to announce, which is a game set inside an air artillery control booth with you playing as the pilot. There was a slight hint towards narrative beats, and if this game sounds like it's for you, then check it out next year in summer 26 for PC. Creepy, hyper-realistic looking game Routine is set to hit on Xbox and PC in late 2025, which I will check out as I like my horror and psychological games. And another Chinese looking Souls-like called Swords of Legends, which may be a boss rush or just showed boss fights, I'm not entirely sure, but there was a headless guy who wielded a third sword with its decapitated head, so that's cool. It's coming to consoles and PC. Next, Saber Interactive showed off Road Kings, which looks like a truck driver simulator simulator with some extreme weather elements, hitting in 2026 for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. And lastly, Sonic Racing Crossworlds is having a crossover with Pac-Man on September 26th, and this works both ways as the crossover is also applying to Pac-Man World 2 Repacked. And that was everything, so let's move on to the main event. Geoff opened with Silksong officially announcing that it is launching this year in 2025, accompanied by new gameplay footage. I can't believe it's finally happening, but on Thursday, Team Cherry are holding their own stream in which I am certain we will get the solid release date. Maybe even a shadow drop if we're lucky. Black Ops 7 got a massive trailer showcasing the trippy cyber-fueled world of 2035. Looks like they're leaning into the psychedelics to inspire their movements and map designs with wall running and leaping zero-G-esque jumps. Plus, zombie mode was confirmed and even the top-down Dead Ops arcade. The campaign is solo or up to 4-player co-op, which is the big new thing. They even promised endgame content for the campaign, which is something we've never seen before. There is a deeper dive happening sometime in September, so pay attention to that if you want to see more. Black Ops 7 is coming November 14th to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, including last gen, but no Nintendo release date currently. The first new game announcement of the night was next with Lords of the Fallen 2. This is set 100 years after the first title narratively as we don the lamp bearer again. This was a full cinematic trailer though, so we didn't glean much else from it. Lords of the Fallen is an action RPG Souls-like where the main difference is that it simultaneously runs two worlds. When you die or raise your lamp, you travel to the other world, which is far more dangerous but uncovers many secrets. I enjoyed the first game once it had gone through a series of updates, as at launch it was practically unplayable. Assuming they are building on this, I am hoping the second one will release in a much better state when it comes in 2026 to all platforms. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice anime was revealed, titled Sekiro No Defeat, and is coming exclusively to Crunchyroll. I don't watch anime, but I think I'll check this out because I love Sekiro. Another surprising highlight for me was LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. I don't think I have ever been excited for a LEGO game, but I definitely am now. This looks like it has combat and powers from the Arkham series, as well as an open world Gotham to explore. For the first time ever, TT Games have included difficulty modes for those who want more challenge. The story takes elements from the Dark Knight trilogy, as well as the more recent The Batman. Oh, and Bane is voiced by Matt Berry. LEGO Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight is coming in 2026 for all platforms. Warhammer 40k Dawn of War 4 is coming in 2026, and you can play as 4 factions in this top-down real-time strategy game. Monster Hunter Wilds is having a both ways crossover event with Final Fantasy XIV in September and October respectively, and then we got another look at Onimusha Way of the Sword. This was focusing on the horror and body mutations of some of the enemies while also showcasing the combat, which looks solid. As I've said before on this channel, this would be my first entrance into the Onimusha series, but after all viewings of this game so far, I am all the way in when it drops sometime in 2026 for PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. We then got quickfire trailers for Ark Knights Enfield, Europa Universalis 5, Voidbreaker, which is out now in early access, and Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion. I didn't like the look of this game. It had bad character models and muddy graphics in my opinion. Fallout Season 2 had the director, executive producer, and 2 of the main cast on stage to give a brief discussion of the show, where they also had the world premiere teaser trailer, and it looks great. I really need to catch up on this series. One of my favorite games last year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, is getting a DLC called The Order of Giants. We saw new gameplay focusing on the puzzle elements and narrative mystery of Rome's biggest secret. This is coming on September 4th to all existing platforms, but there was a further additional announcement that the game is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 in 2026. Deadpool VR got a new trailer looking at the villains. This one is exclusive to MetaQuest and comes later this year. This was followed by the world premiere of World of Tanks 2.0 releasing early September, and John Carpenter's Toxic Commando from Saber and Focus Entertainment had a gameplay world premiere. It is a first-person shooter and showcased Saber's iconic horde tech with literally hundreds of enemies. This has an early 2026 release. Death by Scrolling is a roguelike that requires a constant need to move in order to avoid both the Reaper and the ever-raising vertical screen. This looked like lots of fun, but there is no release date as of yet. The next game from Disco Elysium developers was up to bat. Staying in the CRPG genre, this one revolves around spies and espionage, titled Zero Parades. The studio has had a lot of change up since Disco Elysium was released, but if the writing can come even close to a fraction of the quality that game had, I'm sure it will be a must play. Once again, no release date on this one, but I hope it has the voice lines they introduced in the Disco Elysium director's cut, as that was a massive improvement. We saw a trailer for gacha game Neverness to Everness, which is a tongue twister in itself, but then we saw Unbeatable, an indie music game that looks like Scott Pilgrim. The synopsis from the website reads, Unbeatable is a stunning hand-drawn anime-inspired rhythm adventure game. Experience what it means to be a band on the run. Music is illegal in this world, but you won't let that stop you. Follow Bee and her bandmates through the journey of self-discovery, blending live song performances, spectacular set pieces, and quirky rhythm minigames. Explore a detailed open world and engage in branching conversations with several unique characters, featuring 100% original soundtrack alongside guest tracks and musical collaborations. Unbeatable hits on November 6th for Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. Then we were hit with another flurry of trailers. We saw co-op boss fight game Honor of Kings World, Fortnite is adding to its endless collaborations with Squid Game, Delta Force got a promo as it launches today on Xbox and PlayStation, and then Lorient Testard, the composer of Clair Obscur Expedition 33, did a live music performance with a vocalist. They performed Alicia and it was beautiful. That game has such an amazing OST, as I mentioned in my review. You should definitely check it out. Ninja Gaiden 4 promo followed this, where we got to see new high velocity bloody gameplay, looking at new protagonist Yakumo's enemies, which include Ryu and the Hayabusa clan, ahead of its October release. We also got the world gameplay premiere of Cinder City, which is an MMO with no current release date. Time Takers is a competitive team-based survival shooter which had a gameplay reveal. The characters are beings from various periods in time, which is an interesting twist given that if you run out of time you seemingly die. Your time seems to decrease if you are damaged, and you gain time if you kill. This is free to play and is coming to Steam with no official release date, but a playtest is coming soon. Silent Hill F revealed Susie Young as the American voice of the protagonist. Susie is best known as playing Yuffie in the Final Fantasy VII remakes. From the developers of Enotria The Last Song comes La Divina Commida. This had an awesome art style and insanely fluid combat, although I'm not sure how in-game it is, but it did say that it was in-game footage. This game is a dark action RPG in a setting inspired by the Italian poet Dante, coming to PC, PlayStation, and Xbox, but there is an absence of release date. Chronos The New Dawn gets another look. There's been a lot of previews and breakdowns of this game now. I just really want it in my hands. I don't need to see any more, but we're nearly there now as this release is only a couple of weeks away. Obsidian Entertainment appeared with The Outer Worlds 2, primarily looking at companions in a trailer once again led as a comedy bit by Ben Schwartz. Inzoi is getting the DLC Island Getaway on August 20th for Mac and PC. Fate Trigger Early Access is coming Q1 2026. The 7 Deadly Sins Origin is getting a closed beta test, and Moonlighter 2 drops into early access in October. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is finally coming on October 21st to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC, and it looks good. The summary from the publisher reads, "You are the Nomad, an elder vampire awakening from a century-long slumber. New to the modern nights, trapped in your blood is a stranger's voice. This mysterious entity, a vampire detective known as Fabian, will be your guide to 21st century Seattle. In sections of the game, you will explore the city through his eyes as you revisit a cold case from 100 years ago that threatens undead and mortal society. Hunt your way through a modern night Seattle on the brink of an open supernatural war where visceral vampire action meets a noir murder mystery. Navigate the vampire court of Seattle and its dark underbelly in this action RPG realized by the BAFTA award-winning studio, The Chinese Room." Requiem. Enshrouded gets update Wake of the Water coming in October. Xbox franchise Age of Empires is coming to PlayStation for the very first time with Age of Empires 4 and its new expansion Dynasties of the East on November 4th. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 Legacy of the Forge expansion coming in September with new building mechanics, and Cult of the Lamb expansion Wallhaven is coming early 2026. World of Warcraft expansion Midnight gets a cinematic premiere. We see the Blood Elves get invaded by the evil entities of the darkness. The elves summon light and it highlights the narrative elements, coming in 2026. This was an amazing cinematic as we would expect from Blizzard. Next up, we had an intriguing PvEVP game from the developers of Delta Force Project Spectrum. This was a multiplayer psychological game edging on the side of horror in a first-person perspective. It featured gun combat when in human form, but you can also play as the monsters. Project Spectrum structures its missions with the players trying to locate and defeat a boss by using your camera to track clues. There is no release date for this yet, but it is confirmed as free to play. If you thought World of Tanks 2.0 would be the only tank game coming at opening night live, then you'd be wrong, as Heat is coming to PC, consoles and Steam Deck and looks extremely fast paced. Ghost of Yotei then popped up. This is another game we have seen so much of recently, I just want to play it already. We got a brief dive into the world and also the announcement of Legends coming in 2026 as a free DLC if you own the base game. Ghost of Yotei is out on October 2nd. Then we had the moment most people tuned in for. We got to see more of Resident Evil Requiem. This slice was a trailer that transitioned into gameplay, focusing on Grace and her mum trying to escape the hotel. This was really centering on how scared Grace is as a character, which is something the devs mentioned earlier this summer and differentiates her from previous series protagonists. I would have liked to see more, but we did get a feel of the tense atmosphere and also witnessed the gruesome murder of the hotel's manager. I love Resident Evil and I can't wait for this new title when it releases on February 27th, 2026. The big one last thing was a Black Myth Wukong sequel. This is following the name Black Myth, confirming that this is a franchise and is focusing on Zhong, the figure from Chinese mythology. He is often referred to as a demon hunter and king of ghosts. This was a full cinematic, and given that it is the first announcement, I would expect Black Myth Zhong to still be a few years away yet. That was everything we saw, and it was definitely a very bloated show. As Gamescom ONLs go, this was on the better side in my eyes, but still firmly solidifying it as the worst of Geoff's big three shows. That's not to say there wasn't any big things here, as we saw the likes of Resident Evil, Ghost of Yotei, Black Ops 7 and the Black Myth sequel, but other than the latter, these were all known quantities. My main highlights were DenshAttack and Valor Mortis, which were both in the pre-show, and that really says something. Was there anything you wanted to see at opening night live? Then let me know in the comments below, and please also let me know your general thoughts of the event. If you want more reviews, spoiler casts, quick looks, or just general gaming discussions, then check out and support the channel by leaving a like and subscribe. And for everything else, casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.